Welcome to my channel. Today I was debating between doing a reading between baby Gabriel or the Lindbergh baby, but not Lindenberg, but Lindbergh. I think I'm going to do the Lindbergh baby. And I got to tell you, I, had heard all these rumors. I wasn't sure what is real, what isn't. But hey, okay. So I really love history and I love to research. So this is why I am actually enjoying making these videos. It's not just about doing a psychic reading. I get to take you all on a journey about these sometimes controversial events and people that school doesn't really cover, not into detail. Kind of sometimes grazes over the bad stuff. Because it's not always easy to look back and see some of the atrocities people have committed. However, if we don't, we are doomed to repeat ourselves and never learn how to help and do what's right. And doing psychic readings, I find I can bring things to light that may have been hidden. Is it always accurate? No, because I'm going by what I can see, and as I try to explain it, yeah, things do get a little muddled. But yeah, because we're not perfect, and therefore I'm not always gonna get it right, nor is any psychic reader or psychic medium, tarot card reader. And I will never claim to be right or accurate all the time. It's just not possible. But I strive to do my best. My intentions are to help, also educate, and even entertain. I did a poll just the other day asking, should I could do these intros about the reading, the case, and just jump to the reading, or should I also keep including all the other historical stuff? And I got you guys many of you do like having the extra to know what it is, more details about the case before the reading. So we're going to do that. Now, today's reading, we are going to investigate the controversial Charles Lindbergh and the kidnapping and murder of his baby boy. You're like, Charles Lindbergh? What? You see, yeah, he was considered an American hero, but he's also accused of being a traitor who was friendly with the Nazis. And because of this video and the stuff I'm going to be talking about, I may get demonetized and probably not this video gets shown, but I'm going to hope and pray it does go well and I can get this information out to everybody. Because whether or not you like Lindbergh, you have to feel for their 20-month-old son, who was named Charles also. And he disappeared from his home on March 6, 1932. A ransom note was found, as well as evidence that someone had broken into the nursery and took the child. Now, the kidnapping made headlines, and the FBI got involved, which isn't normal at first in these cases, to try and help find Charles and catch the kidnapper or ers. There were many, and I mean many leads, thousands, that led to nothing, and misinformation, fake news, things like that, was rampant. Unfortunately, the child was found dead. And this had been after several ransom notes had been left and ransom paid. There were several suspects, one who even took her own life. It took nearly 3 years for there to be an arrest. Now, the arrest was Richard Hauptmann. He was caught because the money from the ransom was being tracked, and Richard denies any knowledge of the kidnapping and the death of the baby. So, was Richard Hauptmann guilty, or did he make the unfortunate mistake of spending money he found? So, my true crime friends, we are now where we get to choose. You get to stick around with me and just learn a little bit more about Charles Lindbergh and his son's kidnapping, Or click on those chapter links down below to jump ahead on them to the psychic tarot reading. You know, I got you covered. So, choose your path now. I'm wearing my Star Wars shirt. I'm in a mood. All right. You know, I gotta be careful when I inhale. I got these crowns all replaced and fixed, except for the back one. They decided I'm going to have to get a root canal, which makes sense because of the way it hurts. And I had a temp crown on that, and that temp crown popped off last night. The same day I get it put in, and anytime I breathe in or something cold or hot hits that tooth back there, it's like radiating pain. So you just did it again. I'm going to try and get through this, okay? So please bear with me and be patient. If I hold my mouth funny as I'm talking, it's because I am in pain. Now, you've probably heard of Charles Lindbergh and his plane, the Spirit of St. Louis. Yeah, because he became famous for being the first person to successfully fly a plane across the Atlantic. His flight was nonstop from New York City, New York, all the way to Paris, France in 1927. And Charles was also the son of Congressman Charles August Lindbergh, who was very, very much against going to war during World War I and advocated for neutrality. Now, much like his father, Charles was also a strong advocate for neutrality. However, he had been quite friendly with the Nazi Germans and came out as a white nationalist. Yeah, he is a racist prick who believed that going to war was racial suicide for white people. Yeah, he believed that, folks. He felt that Americans should not go to war with those in Europe because there were white people also. We got, he was vocal on the radio doing interviews that were so anti-Semitic, racist. It really is questionable how he can be considered a hero when he was so vocal about his racist beliefs. Now, you're probably wondering, what about the Lindbergh baby kidnapping? So, yeah. You know a wee bit about Daddy, but there's so much more to tell in this story of his life and the kidnapping. So here we go. Hold on, get your coffee. We are going for a ride. Whew. About 9 p.m. on March 1st, 1932, Charles Augustus Lindbergh went missing. The child's nurse, Betty Gow, notified the parents, Charles and Anna, that their son was missing. Immediately, everyone there searched the entire premises for baby Charles. Now, upon searching the nursery, a ransom note was found, left on the windowsill, and muddy footprints. Also, they noticed a ladder that was broken outside the window where more footprints could be found, but not identified. The Hopewell police were then notified of the kidnapping and ransom note asking for $50,000. Oh my. And then on March 2nd, the very next day, after a conference with the Attorney General, the FBI Director, J. Edgar Hoover, had contacted the headquarters of New Jersey State Police at Trenton, New Jersey. He officially informed the organization that the U.S. Department of Justice would afford Colonel H. Norm Schwarzkopf, the superintendent of the New Jersey State Police, the assistance and cooperation of the FBI in bringing about the apprehension of the parties responsible for the kidnapping. He advised New Jersey State Police that they could call upon the Bureau for any facilities or resources which the latter might be capable of extending. The special agent in charge of the New York City office of the Bureau, which had at that time covered the New Jersey district, was instructed accordingly and upon instructions from the director. Now, the special agent in charge communicated with the New Jersey State Police and the New York City Police, offering any assistance with the Bureau might lend in this matter. And it's, now, you don't see that happening as much now. There's such a public displays of how, yeah, but just keep going. You're gonna find out why. During the next few weeks, the Bureau just acted merely as in an auxiliary capacity because there was no federal jurisdiction. This wasn't their jurisdiction, and so they just were like, "Hey, we're here to help," and you're trying to butt in. I'm sure the police just loved that help. Now, we jump ahead to May 13th, 1932. President, FDR, Franklin Roosevelt, he makes this announcement, and he directs that all governmental investigative agencies should place themselves at the disposal of the state of New Jersey, and that the FBI should serve as a clearinghouse and coordinating agency for all investigations in this case conducted by federal investigative units. Yeah. He just jumped in and sidelined everything. But before we get to that, let's get into this. Now, the investigation began with questioning all of the household and the entire staff. That seems pretty normal, right? And Lindbergh tried to contact the kidnappers through his friends to initiate negotiations for his son's return. However, the lack of clues was exhausted until March 6th, when in the mail, a second ransom letter arrived, in which the demand for a decreased amount of $70,000. Now, this triggered a police conference to be called by the governor of New Jersey, and Lindbergh's attorney, Colonel Henry Breckinridge, also at this time hired a bunch of private investigators to help find baby Charles. The governor's like putting out a plea also, hey, help us, we need to find this. It's becoming more public knowledge. Now remember, this is time before the internet. They didn't have, communication and TV. No, this was a different time, folks. So they're trying to get things public through the newspapers and through the news. A couple days later, a third ransom note was sent actually to the attorney, and this was on March 8th when he received it. And the note let the Lindberghs know that they couldn't have another person appointed by the Lindberghs to use as a mediator, intermediary, whatever. I'm having a hard time. Intermediary. I can talk. No, I can't. I hurt. Also, the letter asked for a note in the newspaper. Now, this is when things get odd. On March 8th, also, Dr. John Condon, a retired school principal from the Bronx, New York, published a request in the Bronx Home News that he would act as a go-between for the Lindberghs. And Dr. Condon offered $1,000 to be added to the ransom if this was acceptable, and he would pay. And the very next day, John did receive the fourth ransom note. Yep, we're up to number four. And this note stated, yes, Dr. John Condon is acceptable as the go-between. Lindberghs didn't know this guy. He just volunteered himself, and at the same time as they're getting a note saying, you can't choose anyone of your own. So this is a little weird. This to me goes, this is suspicious. Very sus. Very, very, very. So, yeah, what did the Lindberghs think of all that? I really don't know. I mean, they must have been like, well, he's offering and it was approved. We should go for this. Because, yeah, Colonel Lindbergh did approve of Dr. Condon to go ahead and continue negotiating. On March 10th, Dr. John Condon received the $70,000 in cash for the ransom, and he began negotiating in the newspaper using a code name Jafsie. And it's spelled Jafsie, in case you're wondering. And we get to March 12th, and this is about 8:30 p.m. And an anonymous phone call is and they had received an anonymous phone call. Now, Dr. Condon received then a fourth ransom note on that day, and it was delivered by a Joseph Perron, a taxi cab driver who received it from an unidentified stranger. The message stated that the note would be found beneath a stone at a vacant stand 100 feet from an outlying subway station, and this note, the sixth, was then found there by Dr. Condon. As indicated, he followed the instructions. Boom. Now, when he got the sixth note, what he got was he followed instructions, and the doctor ended up meeting an unidentified man who called himself John. And they met at the Woodlawn Cemetery near 233rd Street and Jerome Avenue, and they discussed the payment of the ransom money. And the stranger agreed to furnish a token of the child's identity before getting the money. And Condon had been accompanied by a bodyguard, except for when he got close and was there alone with John talking. Bodyguard wasn't to be nearby, so that's something else to keep in mind. And during the next few days, Dr. Condon repeated his advertisements, urging further contact and stating his willingness to pay the ransom. Now, a baby sleeping suit was sent as a token to identify baby Lindbergh, and with it was a seventh ransom note. And this was on March 16th, and it was Dr. Condon who received all this. And the suit was delivered to Colonel Lindbergh, and they later identified, saying, yes, this is my son's suit. This was my son's. So Condon continued posting in the newspaper these little advertisements, trying to get the kidnappers' attention. And then an eighth note was received on March 21st. And this note insisted on complete compliance and advising that the kidnapping had been planned for a year. They're saying, we got our shit together. We've planned this for a very long time. You better do as we say, or nothing. Now, this was on March 21st. Now, March 29th, Betty Gow, you might remember her, she was the infant's nanny who had reported him being missing to the Lindberghs. She was, a nurse who took care of the baby. She found the infant's thumb guard that had been worn at the time of the kidnapping near an entrance to the estate. And then the following day, a ninth ransom note was received by Dr. Condon, threatening to increase the demand to $100,000 and refusing a code to use in newspaper columns. The 10th ransom note received by Dr. Condon was April 1st, and this was not April Fool's. Nope. In 1932, and he was instructed to have the money ready the following night, to which Condon replied by an ad in press saying, okay. And the 11th ransom note was delivered on April 2nd to Dr. Condon, the negotiator. by an unidentified taxi driver who said he received it from an unknown man. Dr. Condon found the 12th ransom note under a stone in front of the greenhouse at 3225 East Tremont Avenue, Bronx, New York, as instructed in the 11th note. Now, shortly thereafter, the same evening, by following the instructions of the 12th note, Condon again met with whom he believed to be John, and he wanted to reduce the demand to $50,000. Remember, he's already been given the 70 grand, but he's like, we're going to try and negotiate this down. And this amount was handed to the stranger in exchange for a receipt and a 13 note containing instructions to the effect that the kidnapped child could be found on a boat named Nellie near Martha's Vineyard, Massachusetts. The stranger then walked north into the Park Woods. The following day, an unsuccessful search for the baby was made near Martha's Vineyard, and the search was later repeated for the baby. And nothing. Dr. Condon was positive that he would recognize John if he ever saw him again. He's saying, hey, I think I know who this John guy is. And on May 12, 1932, the body of the kidnapped baby was accidentally found, partly buried and badly decomposed, about 4.5 miles southeast of the Lindbergh home, 45 feet from the highway near Mount Rose, New Jersey, and Mercer County. Now, the discovery had been made by a William Allen, and he was an assistant on a truck driven by Orville Wilson. And what they found, warning, the head appeared to have been crushed and a hole in the skull, and some of the parts of his body were missing. This is really... The body was positively identified and cremated in Trenton, New Jersey on May 13th, 1932. And the coroner's examination showed that the child had been dead for about 2 months, and that death was caused by a blow on the head. Now, while people began to speculate that Dr. Condon was behind the kidnapping, he continued his own unofficial investigation. And thousands of leads were coming in, and lots of wild rumors and speculations began to spread, which, hello, that's normal. We see this even more rampant with, people having social media and YouTube channels like what I'm doing here. Now, the FBI started to feel like there could be hope that the kidnappers would be caught by tracing the bills and the gold certificates that were paid in the ransom. And the FBI contacted banks and gave them the numbers of the bills and the info on these gold certificates and told them to contact them if any of this money comes through. This didn't work as smoothly as all had hoped. Nope. This investigation went on for a couple of years with no real leads. Sure, bills were found and they kept track of locations, but still no one was caught. They were able to use the description Dr. Condon to make a drawing of what the suspect who called himself John looked like. Unfortunately, the harsh tactics in trying to figure out who was behind this led to a suicide of a suspect who was found to have been innocent when her alibi did check out. On June 10th, 1932, Violet Sharp, a waitress in the home of Mrs. Lindbergh's mother, Mrs. Dwight Morrow, who had been under investigation by the authorities, committed suicide by swallowing poison when she was about to be re-questioned. However, her movements the night of March 1st, 1932, had been carefully checked, and it was soon definitely ascertained she had no connection with this abduction. But they were just so harsh on her. This woman snapped, and that's bad. Now, President FDR was active in this investigation and was acting in charge of it in many ways. He also ordered the turning of all gold certificates to the Treasury, because you see, 40,000 of the 70,000 was in gold certs, most of them unused. This proclamation by the president around September 1933 was done in assistance in catching the kidnappers. On January 17th, 1934, a circular letter was issued to by the New York City Bureau Office to all the banks and branches in New York City, requesting them to be extremely diligent and watch for the ransom certificates. Well, February of 1934, all bureau offices were supplied with copies of what the revised pamphlet containing the serial numbers of ransom bills and the info on the certs to everybody, and had wanted the New York City Bureau Office to get the other people to spread this further out. Now, they sent this pamphlet to each employee handling currency in banks, clearinghouses, grocery stores, in certain selected communities, insurance companies, gasoline filling stations, airports, department stores, post offices, and telegraph companies. Now, after doing all this, they got themselves prepared to get all the information sent to them fast, because there wasn't always frequent contacts between everyone, and they wanted to speed this up. Now, you see, before, the ransom bills just had been reported to either the FBI or the New Jersey State Police or the New York Police Department, and none of them had complete information on this point. None of them had it at this point. Therefore, they had to make arrangements that would affect nearby investigation of all such ransom bills detected in the future. So it could be immediately conducted jointly by the representatives of the three interested agencies. Because if someone's got info here, and someone's got info here, and someone's got info here, but they're not sharing, of course they're not going to connect dots and figure out what's going on. So they're like, hey, you guys got to communicate. We are going forward here and investigate the info that you're getting from other places about the money that's being found together. On May 2nd, 1933, the Federal Reserve Bank in New York discovered 296 $10 gold certificates and one $20 gold certificate. All had been Lindbergh ransom notes, and these bills were included among the currency received at the Federal Reserve Bank on May 1st, 1933. And apparently, this had been made in one deposit. Immediately upon the discovery of these bills, deposit tickets at the Federal Reserve Bank for May 1st, 1933 were examined. One was found bearing the name of J.J. Faulkner, 537 West 149th Street, and had been marked thereon gold certificates, $10 and $20, in the amount of $2,980. Now, they tried to find the person who deposited this money. To no avail. Nothing happened. They also looked at the handwriting and got handwriting experts on all the ransom notes to make sure this is all written by the same person. Do we have any idea about this person? And yes, every ransom note was written by the same person, and that the writer was of German nationality, but had spent some time in America. Now, Dr. Condon described John as Scandinavian, and believing he could identify the man, spent considerable time in viewing the numerous photographs of possible suspects. and known criminals. In this connection, the FBI retained the services of an artist to prepare a portrait of John from descriptions furnished by John Condon and Joseph Perron, the taxi cab driver, you remember, who had delivered one of the ransom notes? Yeah. This went on forever. In further to endeavor to identify this individual who received the payments. They're trying to go, who is this John? Dr. Condon was trying to be as, full, he's like, here's transcripts of all the conversations that I can remember. Here's all these details that I remember. How did he pronounce his name? The dialect. He tried to go through all of this, trying to figure out who was this. Now, they did also try and identify the kidnapper around the ladder that had been used in the crime. It had been crudely built, but obviously someone who's familiar with working with wood. And the ladder they went through fingerprinting it, trying to see who could have built it. They showed builders, carpenters, and neighbors of the Lindberghs in vain. And now they did have slivers of the ladder analyzed and to find out what types of wood was used. Thinking maybe this could lead, to a wood expert who could find clues. And they found an Arthur Kohler of the Forest Service, United States Department of Agriculture. Now, Kohler disassembled the ladder and painstakingly identified the types of wood used and examined tool marks. He also looked at a pattern by the nail holes, for it appeared likely that some wood had been used in indoor construction before. And Kohler made field trips to the Lindbergh estates and to factories to trace some of the wood. He summarized his findings in a report that later played a critical role of the kidnapper. Now, 7 months go by and there's nothing's being discovered. No gold certificates were discovered, nothing. It was like around August 20th and people are just like, okay, there's nothing here. We can't find anything. So they just kept wanting to search. So they extended the search for a few more months. And in September, a total of 16 gold certificates were discovered. And most of them in the vicinity of Yorkville and Harlem. And so they were like, we have an opportunity. As each bill was recovered, a colored pin marking they started put on the map. It was all in this metropolitan area. Trying to figure out the movement of the individual, of this kidnapper. And, well, they were able, it took a while. This wasn't like, oh, okay, everything. Because at about 1:20 on September 18th, 1934, the assistant manager of the Corn Exchange Bank and Trust Company, they telephoned the New York City bureau office and to say, hey, a $10 gold certificate had just been discovered by one of our tellers. And they were able to trace that this had come from a gas station. And the gas station was able to they were able to know which gas station. And they could talk to the attendant and be like, hey, who used this to pay for gas? Now you see, the filling station attendant, he was a little smart. He got suspicious. He's like, a $10 gold certificate? So before the guy drove away in his car, he wrote down the license number of the automobile being driven. And guess what? The Bureau was able to figure out Bruno Richard Hauptmann and where he lived. And so Hauptmann's house got they were surveillance, by the FBI and local authorities. Starting from September 18th at 9 a.m. in 1934 to September 19th in 1934. And they saw an individual closely fitting the description of John that Dr. Condon had given coming in and out of the house. And they saw the guy leave his house and enter his automobile that was parked nearby. And it's the same automobile with that license number. Yep. So after some investigating, they were like, okay, the kidnappers is Bruno Richard Hauptmann. The individual had the license. He's a German carpenter who had been in this country for approximately 11 years. The $20 ransom note was actually found on him. I mean, gold ransom certificate ransom note. This is his description fitted perfectly. Now, they're like, okay, we found this on you. You match the description of John. You're German. And so Hauptmann's like, yeah, I've made purchases with these. He's like, yeah. You know, I found these, so I've been using them. Now, Joseph Perone, that taxi driver, he was able to look at the guy and go, yeah, that's the man who gave me the ransom note to be delivered to Dr. Condon. And then the next day, yes, they were able to retrieve $13,000 of those ransom certificates that had been hidden away in the garage of Richard Hauptmann's residence. Yep. And it was also discovered that he was in possession of a Dodge sedan automobile, which answered to the description of that vehicle that was seen by the nearby the Lindbergh home the day prior to the kidnapping, because they had noticed some weird car there. So, yeah, they're like, okay. Now, they get him, they investigate, they kind of match handwriting, and they're like, this all matches. The handwritings match. His handwriting matches the ransom notes. It's him. Ooh, that hurt my tooth. And the guy was a criminal. He had a record of robbery. He even had spent some time in prison. And early in July of 1923, he had stowed away aboard the SS Hanover, starting at Bremen, Germany, and arrived at the port of New York City on July 13th, 1923. And he was arrested and deported immediately. After another failed attempt in August, finally in November, Hauptmann successfully was able to enter the United States on board the George Washington on October 10th, 1925. He married Anne Schofler, who was a waitress in New York City. They even have a child. Now, during his illegal stay in New York City, and until spring of 1923, Hauptmann followed his occupation of carpenter. However, short while after March 1st, 1932, the date of the kidnapping, Hauptmann began to trade rather extensively in stocks and never worked again. Hauptmann still claimed he was innocent, and he just found the gold certs and the belongings of a deceased friend. Yup. Now, here's something you have to keep in mind. The money hadn't been passed immediately after the kidnapping. It had been a couple months here, before money had been passed. So there's something there that makes me go, they're almost clicking, but there's a missing piece. I gotta sense that. Now, they did. Now, Hauptmann, he just kept saying, no, I found this. A friend of mine, he was dead, found this in his belongings, and so I took them. And gold certs are not traceable. So if you found them, what would you do? Yeah. Well, Richard already, he's already spent time in prison for robbery and such. He don't care. Obviously, he was like, I'm in the money. I'm in the money. You know what I'm saying? Now, on January 3rd, 1935, we finally have a trial. Oh, yes. And this trial lasted 5 weeks. Now, all the evidence in this case was circumstantial. Tool marks on the ladder had matched tools of Hopman. Wood in the ladder was found to match wood used in the flooring in his attic. Dr. Condon's telephone number and address were found scrawled on paper on a door frame inside a closet, actually. Handwriting on the ransom notes did match Hopman's writing. On February 13th, 1935, the jury returned their verdict, guilty of murder in the first degree. The sentence, death. And of course, the defense is like, appeal, appeal, appeal. But the Supreme Court of the state of New Jersey on October 9th upheld the verdict of the lower court. Then Hopman's appeal went to the Supreme Court of the United States. And it was denied again on December 9th, 1935. It was January 17th, 1936 that he was electrocuted. Yeah, that's ugh. He was to be electrocuted. I'm sorry, I forgot. He was, and then the governor's like, hold up. We'll give you 30 days. 30 days. So, he gets 30 days to try and appeal, prove that he's innocent. But, guess what? Nope, he was just resentenced to be electrocuted during the week of March 30th, 1936. And on March 30th, the Pardon Court of the state of New Jersey denied a petition for clemency. On April 3rd, 1936, at 8:47 p.m., Bruno Richard Hopman was electrocuted. Now, the Lindens claimed that due to the attention from the case and the death threats against the life of their son John, against their other son John, whom they had after Charles, they left for Europe in 1935. Now, after staying in England for 6 months, the Lindberghs were welcomed into Germany as honored guests by the Third Reich. Oh, you heard it, baby. You heard it. Now, you're thinking just because, but things just... Now, I could go on just how truly shocking Charles Lindbergh was, because he lived in Germany for a while and then moved his family back to the U.S. at the start of World War II. Keep in mind, this man received the Service Cross of the German Eagle by the Nazis, and he's been criticized for this. Okay, now he is a U.S. military colonel who's sympathizing with the Nazis here. He was going to war due to his white supremacist and anti-Semitic beliefs. Yet came back to the U.S. and was being treated as some kind of hero and got to continue his work in the U.S. Department of Defense and Pan American Airways. I kid you not. I mean, I could just keep going on about him. He was even given the Medal of Honor by a special act of Congress. President Eisenhower even appointed him Brigadier General of the Air Force Reserve in 1954. So, yeah. Here he is, Nazi sympathizer, being treated as some great American hero. So, what happened to baby Charles? And was Hopman the kidnapper? Did the Lindberghs have anything to do with this kidnapping? And what was going on with all the presidential attention given? And was he a traitor? Heck, did he pull a Severus and with some kind of twisted double agent? I don't know. Who knows? Perhaps we're going to get some answers in the psychic reading, because I got to tell you, this story is one of those, it seems up front, but at the same time, it doesn't. Well, hello. Thank you. And we're going to get into the actual tarot reading itself now. Just questions, about the Lindberghs and the baby and kidnapper and this Dr. John Connon. So many questions. So, let's get onto it. Nine of Wands. Okay. The King of Wands in reverse. It's like this. It's a nasty feeling I'm getting. It's just kind of like nothing. It's all gonna fall apart anyway. I don't care. And then the Ace of Cups. This is. I think I need to get more because this is some weird energy. Kind of like, ugh. Three of Cups reversed. Jealousy. Huh. Why are they celebrating? High Priestess. High Priestess? This is like... Because these are three different situations here. This is someone who's very apathetic. It just doesn't really care. And is going into himself like, this is building up to the worst, and you're just like, not satisfied with what you have, not satisfied, wanting more, apathetic about those around him, feeling that they're not going to give enough. But something was fulfilled, and I want to see what the third card is. Something. What was? Oh, I don't. Okay, folks. Death. It was like happy. The death was, the kid being killed was like gonna happen no matter what. That was the plan. Nobody cared about returning this child and taking the money. Now I have the Devil card here, folks. And it's over all this petty jealousy, wanting more. What were they addicted to? Some kind of an addiction I'm seeing that was leading to the numb feelings and a need for money. Now here is, you can see about her child here. And this is judgment. See, I don't like what I'm seeing. Oh, shit. Okay. Well, here's the Queen of Cups. There's a cover-up. It's Hotman, Richard, the one who died for it, he was set up. It's like something went wrong with Charles Lindbergh, Charles and Anna. They... It's almost like they had to launder money. They're trying to launder money. Don't know why. And I don't think was baby Charles, baby Lindbergh have health issues. It's like he was too much to take care of. He was a burden for some reason. Oops. What card just flipped out? Okay. Okay. Page of Wands. Now, it's like, this is just... Yeah, he just very... I don't care. I just don't care. There is regret. You know, this was their child. I regret that this happened. But, like, this imbalance, you know, this is justice. This is all lies. Oh, okay. So, wanting a fresh new start, leaving America was a lie. There was a reason they wanted to get not to Germany. They went from England to Germany. They said they were moving away, but it's like this was a distraction from something that's going on. The whole kidnapping was a distraction. It's like he was set up to be able to infiltrate the Nazis and get information. This is shady shit. Or no, he was set up as an excuse to go there. And this is okay. This is a star. And it's reversed. So everything is clouded over. Everything's black. It's a black ops. That's what. Where did that come from? Black operation, dark on. The wheel of... Yeah, the wheel is reversed here, folks. Things were stagnant. Things weren't happening. They had to push it. They had to make a distraction. Just going back with these notes, I think now Hopman probably, yeah, he was set up. He knew he was, but it was like he was more afraid to reveal what's going on. Okay, we got the Ten of Cups here. And it's like, I don't understand. Okay, there's this energy that I keep getting of celebration that Charles was gone. And that just, like, really pisses me off. And I keep avoiding it because I don't want to go there. But that's what I see. It was like, from the very beginning, yay! It worked. And now we can go forth and do all this other stuff. I am so repulsed by this. Five of Wands upside down. So the apathy, regret, not looking, lost in darkness. Pulling away, hiding away, not being forward. I think I'm dealing with some... Yeah, here's the Ten of Wands upside down. Dealing with Anna here. Anna is not happy. She was not happy. She disapproved of everything, but she couldn't say or do anything. She was bound to Charles. And they had another child. So, yeah. And then this, she's bound to him. A man who's corrupt and greedy as fuck, which I'm thinking is Charles Lindbergh. Yeah. Okay, things are starting to make more sense with these cards. And I was like, I think things were not all happy, joyful in this marriage. Yeah. Hoarding, he's Five of Pentacles here. This guy is like, everything about him, he was having money problems. He was having money problems due to some kind of an addiction, and was trying to launder money that he owed, because it was like a gambling debt, or took a loan out from somebody he shouldn't have. Pissed off the wrong people, that's for sure. Yeah, and I hear, is that the sword? Yeah, the King of Swords here. He's all in reverse. We can't tell. Stupid mistake. He was just stupid. Stupid with his money. Stupid with decision making. Seven of Swords reversed. Just incapable of doing something, and try to make all these secret plans but they were falling apart. He just couldn't do it right. And this was like a last ditch effort. It's like health problems with I just see little baby had health problems. Three of Pentacles reversed. And I think it would have cost too much money. So they felt that he wasn't going to hit effectiveness in life. It was like, you're just... Anna wasn't too thrilled about it. Anna still had that, like, harsh of a mother, but bound and trapped. It's like, okay, we'll have another kid, and that's where they got John, and then they were like, oh, you know, people want to kill John and hate me. They just, why would the Lindberghs be getting, you know, the kid's missing, found dead, and they're the ones getting the death threats when they already have so many? Yeah, it's weird. 7 of Cups reversed. Fruitless dreams. Lethargic. And have to look at things from another perspective, but I didn't want to. There were other options, obviously, but this seemed like it would. He was like very stubborn. This is what I'm going to do. This is going to work the best, and it'll solve a bunch of our problems. And they ran off to England, got into Germany. Let me see something here. Okay. Alrighty. Focus. Alright. The Knight of Wands popped up, man. What the? Okay, so I was asking about Germany, Nazi Germany, and their involvement. And what I'm seeing here is, like, they're very passionate and following what they believe to be true. And the 8 of Pentacles is making plans for them, making the plans set up for them, making opportunity, and whoo. All you think is like making a deal with the devil, pretty much. See, this is usually like, oh, new opportunity, fresh start, but it's reversed. So it's like a bad. This isn't going to work out well. This isn't going to work out well. It's like, yep. The Fool is reversed, folks. So apparently, I remember before there was some kind of stagnation going, and things just going down, and I think that had to do with trying to get him over to complete his mission. Laying the groundwork so he can complete something. He's working on some project aircraft-wise to help benefit the Nazis. He was so obsessed, and here he just kind of neglects his family, everything that he was loyal to, and everything, because it was all about the planes. And yeah, Germany had better planes, he was saying, and we need to work with them and not fight against them. And here is the Page of Swords upside down, and this is just, with the Fool reverse, we're dealing with it was stupid. It's stupid. It's stupid. It's so stupid. But yeah. And here's the 3 of Cups. This is like, what I'm seeing here with these cups it's like Germany, U.S., and Lindbergh in the middle, and he was jealous, and that whole jealousy that I was sensing, it's all because he was jealous of what was happening in Nazi Germany, with the Nazis and the uprising. Shit. Yeah, this is all. Everything got fulfilled. He felt fulfilled with what he did there. Ah! I don't. This was weird, folks. I didn't like this. Hopefully, I didn't. Big Brother didn't catch this. Come down on me. This is all alleged. And for entertainment purposes only. I have it even written down here, you see? Or over there, down over there. It's down below. It's there, folks. Because this is weird. Yeah. The guy was set up. It was like he thought he was going to get away with they weren't actually going to use him as the scapegoat. It's like he was enlisted, but he didn't have all the information and was pretty much told, you're going to be okay. You're going to get a share of the money too. We'll pay you off and you can disappear. No one's going to assume it's you because you're have no ties. You're going to be safe. You're going to be fine. But no, that isn't what happened. They needed, there was so much news and information about this case, and the baby was still missing. That, when they found the baby's body, it was like, okay, the anger, frustration. They had to throw someone under the bus. They had to use a scapegoat, and Richard Hartman was it. I don't know I don't see him as the actual doing the killing. I think more of he did the notes and he did the meetups, but he wasn't. He wasn't the one who broke into the house. And finding the thumb guard that the baby had, the front of the estate entrance, that's odd. It's like someone walked out the front, walked right out front with this baby. Yeah, this is sad and very disturbing. Okay, I'll tell you right now, before I did the reading, I sat down and I said, I was opening myself up, and I'm like, okay, so, I was opening up, praying and asking for information, asking for help from my spirit guides, and trying to get into, can I connect in with Charles Lindbergh? And it was just this icky darkness that made me sick, and I pulled back scared. And I was like, okay, I need to protect myself. And I, did the envisioning of a protective circle bubble around me of energy and keep my heart and mind and body safe. And then I was like, okay, I'll go back, but I'm not going all the way. I felt like, okay, if you've seen was it Last Jedi? Everyone, when Rey, actually it was like the movie, the latest trilogy of Star Wars. My mind's like blinked out. But Rey is with Luke Skywalker, and she's like they're trying to use the Force, and she just dove right into the darkness where Kylo Ren was to meet, him, and Luke freaked the fuck out. He's like, just dive right in like that. That's how I felt. I felt like it was just ready, just went BAM! It scared the crap out of me, man. So, I'm going to say Charles Lindbergh knew what was going on. He might have had a hand in doing some of the stuff. And he just was a nasty, arrogant, and he didn't care about others. He was self-centered as fuck. That's what I'm going to say. That's how I feel. I don't like a guy. Some people, they want to say, if that's our American heroes, that not for me. She's not mine. Yeah. Okay. All right, everybody. Please hit the like button. You can hit that dislike, but it's not going to show anything because apparently that's a new thing. YouTube is they're hiding all the dislikes. Yes, so I'm not going to even see it. Apparently, I'm not even going to know. It's supposed to protect my mental health. So, like I said, go for it if you want. I don't know what it's going to do. But really, I would love it if you could subscribe to this channel. I would love to get to 2,000. And comment down below what you thought of this reading. Did you know all this about Lindbergh and the Lindbergh baby? I didn't. I really didn't. And I don't like that I know because it's more of, I don't like knowing that stuff is real, but I need to know that it's real. We all do. So that we could do better and be better. There's no going back. We need to go forward. We don't need to return to how things were. We need to be better than how things were. That's how I feel, and that's where I stand, folks. I do love you all. Also, let me know what readings you want to see me do next, what you're interested in, and I love you guys. I keep saying I do. I appreciate everybody so very much, and all of your comments, they're edifying and reassuring and encouraging, and I appreciate each one of you so much. Thank you. Remember, be kind to yourself, be kind to others.